how did you go from being a startup yourself to selling in more than 100 countries?
I'm very lucky in the sense that selling toiletries to hotels means that you have a global platform in a very clear and obvious way. If it's a hotel, I could sell soap to it. If it's an aeroplane, I could sell the amenities. If it was a cruise line, it's either a floating hotel or otherwise. So for me, that extension was not as tough as for other companies. But the truth is, it's about attitude and ambition. And I wish passionately that more people would use these cheap flights, which, by the way, 20 years ago were not as cheap. You know, we have this opportunity to book ahead at £29 or whatever it is. That's buttons to go and discover.
Yeah.
And, you know, then it's about the bravery and the courage of saying, actually, you know what, I'm just going to go and have a go. So then it's about having that deep inner, oh, sod it, confidence, and not worrying about the failure and the embarrassment, which is the other part of what we must overcome, because you're going to fail along the way. You're going to make mistakes. So what? You're doing something to discover that that's not an avenue. So pick yourself up, have another go. You know, and ultimately also try and do it in a way that is incredibly efficient by asking questions relentlessly. I have a saying that I'm well known for, which is, you know, I'm an idiot, treat me like an idiot. Please tell me how you do it. And then I make a judgment. And if we could have every young startup doing that, fantastic.
I can relate to that. Who inspires you in business?
Oh, many. I mean, you know, ultimately one of the reasons I do this sort of thing, for which I always feel very proud to be invited, is I used to sit in front of anybody and everybody that was running a good company and was building their reputation and listen to their story. I remember listening to people, you know, who built beer companies or who built, like Car and Bill and Moria. I remember listening to other entrepreneurs who ran carpet companies. But at their time, in that age, when I was listening to them, they were giving me hints and tips and stuff that I could go away and apply, or actually just make me feel, you know, I'm not doing too badly, just keep going. But it is about, you know, effort in. I worked very hard. And it is very hard running and growing a business. The harder you work, the luckier you get. It is a bit like the golf adage.
Yeah, okay. For some of our readers who are struggling to keep on top of having a family, going to the gym, cooking food, you know, doing the payroll, what sort of practical advice can you give?
Well, I think there's two parties in this game. One is there's the 23-year-old that I was that had this enormous and lucky position. No children, no husband, no real overheads, could eat when I liked, could sleep when I liked, or not liked.
Yeah.
But even then I would play hockey to release my frustrations or play squash. And I remember those days deeply as very free. I massively respect the people that build a business when they're older in life. I think that's tougher. And undoubtedly, there are responsibilities that we hold that mean that those challenges must come near to overwhelming. I felt it at times during Pacific. So I cheat the day a bit. I get up very early and I go to bed pretty late. But I book time so that I, if you like, tick my conscientious box. But the truth is also be open with spouses and partners about your passion for your business. You can't quite have it all of the time. I can tell you it's a roller coaster. If I was fit, I wasn't seeing enough of the family. If I was seeing enough of the family, I was frustrated because I wasn't fit. But those were my two personal things. And actually the success came because the business dedication was the constant. And I do think that if everybody looks at themselves and says, what are they getting right and what are they getting wrong? That's a key facet that you have to learn. You're going to make sacrifices.
Tell us about some of the work that you're doing with UKTI.
I'm loving the work I'm doing with UKTI. I was in Newmarket last week, basically talking about export. I mean, what do I know other than the fact that, you know, Pacific did reach 110 countries. I visited 82 of those countries, so what a great job. But the truth is that, you know, often it is airport to hotel and hotel to airport. The trying to speak round Britain about the importance of export, and I'm not going to oversimplify it because I don't know enough about all the product sectors, but what I do know is Britain is a brilliant creative country, great innovators, and there are lots of companies out there in the big wide world who would love that kind of passion for product. I also know that, you know, there are barriers like paperwork and importation regulations, but you know what, the sooner you get down there and ask the question and challenge to find out what can be achieved, the sooner you might find the gold mine that is trading in the Middle East on letter of credit. It could be working in China, just one of the most massive markets in the world. You know, conquering America. It's a big market, and I don't think we should be afraid of taking our product to these markets. Germany is showing the way, and we're not doing well enough to keep up.
How do you think the environment for starting a business has changed in the last,
Wow.
from when you did it?
I mean, when I did it, giving credit where credit's due, I went and got a small business bank plan, and I followed the checklist, and I thought, oh, I sound a bit like an entrepreneur then, but I never really used the word. I just got on with running a business. Today, there is so much more help and available for free. Not least on the startup site, where we've got some big brands giving some good stuff and also pointing the way to some fantastic information so that you don't feel quite as lonely. There are far more networking organizations. The culture of having a mentor is normal. In my day, you know, calling up some great big business leader and saying, look, I'd like to come and have a coffee. I don't know anything about this. Could you help me? Was unheard of. But this is a new foundation, and an enterprise is no longer new. It's part of the core of what we do. I think it should be more so, and it should be much more respected and embraced. But you know what? People around the country who have businesses can phone any enterprise leader, and they might be surprised that somebody will give them valuable expertise for nothing. Because actually, I think there is an enterprise culture that is about giving back.
Well, we're hoping to get you at the Business Startup Show, so you'll all have to come along and see Lara there.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
No worries.